They're not actually the same name.
In my head, it's the same name, Kenny.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like V's.
Well,
right?
it's like, that's why a lot of people don't do products that start with a V, because it reminds them of vagina.
Oh,
Or Viagra. So yes, we've got it all going.
And we are live in 3, 2, 1, go.
It is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates show for this week's Valspar Championship over down in the Florida swing there, right after a hot and heavy players that finished on Monday. As always, I'm brought to you by my monstrous co-host, Kenny Goddamn Kim. What's up, Kenny?
Not as monstrous as I used to be. I'll let you know, I'm wearing this Augusta Masters shirt. I actually bought it in 2017. It's a large. It sort of fits. We're down to about 224 in the weight loss. So, not as monstrous as it was, but a monstrous week for Rory McIlroy. Very, very impressive stuff. I think the most impressive thing about Rory is the two events that he's won this year are the two least driver heavy courses on tour, with Pebble and this week at the Players. Really, everyone knows the biggest weapon Rory has is his driver, and to do what he's doing and winning these two events, it sort of goes to show that I think he's putting more thought into his shots. Like, he's not just muscle memory, pull out the driver, go all out. It seems like he's playing these courses smarter than he used to. Now, it took him 15, 16 years to try and get to this point. But pretty solid thing. Now, I don't know if this helps him at Augusta, right? Which is going to be super driver heavy, or Wells Fargo, which is going to be super driver heavy. But it's sort of weird, right? That Rory's doing this on courses that you don't normally think would be Rory type courses. And I think it's growth in his game. And it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive by Mr. McIlroy.
Yeah, and particularly with the short irons, Kenny, he's always been a long iron savant, very good out of the rough. But in the fielding strokes gained approach at a very wedge intensive venue, so love to see that from him 10th putting. So very good stuff from the Roars there.
If you look at some of his numbers, in his last 25 worldwide starts, this is from Kyle Porter online, at Kyle Porter on X. In his last 25 worldwide starts, 5 wins, 3 runner-ups, 14 top 5s. 14 top 5s in his last 25 events, 22 top 25s. Everyone talks about Scotty. But what Rory's doing is pretty close. Maybe not
John Rahmy from like 2 or 3 years ago when he came from the DP Tour, ratched up a win or two, then dominated the Genesis Invitational, dominated Century. Just makes you think what Rory would have got up to at Kapalua. Why didn't he show up there for all the big tournaments? But I love it, Kenny. What do you think he continues this, or?
I don't see him stopping. He says he's going to play one more. He's going to play Houston. That's another nice course for him. More in the driver heavy type of deal. I think, he's looking good. It's just, can he get the monkey off of his back? Like, there's
in the majors.
Different. There's when it comes to majors, because his career right now can just go a couple of ways. He wins finally. He gets that major and gets 3 or 4 more, throughout his career, gets to 7, 8, which the way he's playing, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. Of course, it's all going to come down to his mental, because physically, that he has the game, he has the skill he's been the best player in the world for over a decade. If you think he has the most wins since 2010, and he has I think 25 or 28 PGA Tour wins now, and this is coming from a period in time where it's the hardest it's ever been to win a lot, right? Because the talent is so high, everybody's so good. Even in Tiger's era, the competition was not as good as it is today. And that makes it a lot harder to win 20, 30, 40 PGA Tour events in this day and age because there's so many strong players out there on a week in and week out basis. So if he can get 3 or 4, he just needs to get 1 this year. This year seems perfect for him, right? Augusta, we know. Wells Fargo, he's won a shit ton of times. Oakmont, tough, but DJ's won there, right? A guy who can, has a similar type of game plan as Rory. He's won there. This is his year.
Rush.
If he can get 1 this year, I think it's possible that he can get 3, 4, 5 more and become one of the top 5 to 10 greatest players of all time. I think it's there, but can he get over that monkey? Can he get over that obstacle in his head? And what I sort of liked this week was, he started the week with controversy, like, doing what he did with the fan well, it wasn't a fan. It's actually a collegiate golfer from the University of Texas who won the individual collegiate event on a course next door the day before. Right. And then he goes out Tuesday and of course, Rory hits it into the water during a practice round. And he's like, oh, it reminds me of Augusta in 2011. And Rory went over there, just be like, let me see your phone. Just took his shit, got them kicked out. I mean, you could say whatever you want. You could say whatever you want about that, if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I think the main issue for that is, let's go over Roy first, and I'll go over the issues with that. But to do that and have that controversy, and the next day everyone was asking about him, he wasn't answering any questions. And to have that in his mind for the week, because obviously it's something that was a big story before the tournament started, and to go and still be able to do what he did and win the event on a course that's not necessarily suited to, even though he's won before. Last time I went to the Players, I saw Rory win. In 2019. So you knew he could do it. But, can he get his mind right for these Masters? Maybe not Augusta, because I think that monkey is just too big. But US Open, PGA seems
PGA
like
champ.
The one.
That's
the one this year. If he can get that one this year, and I think it could lead to more. But his career can also go on another path. If he doesn't get that one this year, he's 35, 36 years old. He's on the back half of his career. He could go, the longer he goes without that 5th major, the more that talk is going to be the main talk of his career. So big moment, a big year for Rory McIlroy this year, to see how the trajectory of his career goes. And then I'll let you respond before I go over why I think he made a mistake by doing what he did with that golfer, with that fan heckler.
Hey, I love what he did with the heckler. You can get to that, yeah. But I think Kenny, it doesn't even matter what he does outside of the 4 majors now.
It doesn't.
He is just racking up. Is it just a second Players champion? I think Scotty was the first person to defend or get.
Yeah, I think there's only like 6 golfers that have won like 2 players here.
Right. So now he's just part of an elite club there. No one cares. It's all about Augusta next. And that's where he's got to make it happen. Like we've got the slam, the career slam on the line, which I think that has to be some of the biggest pressure you could ever imagine, as a golfer, especially at Augusta.
But he showed, pretty good, because the thing is, going into this morning, we're recording this on Monday afternoon, going into this morning, all the pressure was on Rory, right? I mean, and he even said that was like some of the most pressure he's felt. He had to go watch some Anne Hathaway the night before. Anne Hathaway, big reliever of stress. I could say in that one, big fan. Someone called Anne Hathaway the LeBron of actresses, because she's just out there, 22 years old, 32 years old, 42 years old, still balling, looking good as shit. Big fan of Anne Hathaway. But watching The Devil Wears Prada goes out there, which is a great fucking movie, by the way. And it goes out there and wins the event. I thought, having that type of pressure and being able to overcome it is a good first step. And, we saw it on 17 yesterday when he almost lipped out that putt. I think that was a big putt to make, right? If that putt is a centimeter more to the right, He lips it out again. He loses, and we're back in this discussion about him and pressure and short putts. He's got to get that major. He's got to get it, and I think it has to happen this year. And I think it's his best chance, and it could really determine the outcome and the trajectory of what people think about his career is going to be. But now let's talk about the heckler. The problem with what Rory did, I thought, to become the bad guy and become the villain, I'm a fan of that. But the issue is, with the advent of more booze on the course, alcohol is a big factor. With gambling now a big factor on the course, you're going to get heckled. You're going to hear stuff like that. Golfers have said that they've been hearing more chirping ever since gambling has become legalized. That's not going to stop. And so the issue is now these hecklers have a direct beeline of how to get into Rory's head, right? They know exactly what to say. They know exactly what to bring up to get a reaction. And that's what trolls do. They're out there to try and get a reaction from you. And he's given them the in with this. I think it could be a problem. Rory's a very, I forget the word, but polarizing figure. People either love him or hate him, right? And there's still a good amount of people that do not like Rory McIlroy for one reason or another. I used to be one of those. I sort of turned on Rory. So the worry you have is what this brings is it's going to bring more of those hecklers, more of those trolls out. They're going to know what to say, and they're going to say it more often because they've seen Rory react to it. That's the worry that I have with what Rory did.
Do you think it had to do with the fact that it was on a Wednesday? I don't see Rory doing this during competition. I think he's locked in. There's enough people there, not too worried about it. Like, say whatever you want. I'm in the mode. On a Wednesday during like a pro-am or whatever, you got kids walking with you, and I just feel like
the problem is I think this is just going to bring more of those people out. And so he's going to hear it more and more and more and more. Because people know that they can get a reaction out of him. And I think that could be an issue in the future, especially if you made U.S. Open, Beth Page. But Beth Page is different. It's the Ryder Cup. That's the different atmosphere that you're going to be used to that, basically. But a little bit worried about that. But
I just think the timing is it's all relevant there. I don't see him doing this during the tournament ever.
Who knows? Who knows? We never thought Ricky would do something like that, and he did 2 weeks ago.
But where he went off. Ricky's off the boil, buddy. Like, he needs some attention, and then went off on the fan.
Yeah, but other thing, JJ Spawn. I mean, really solid by him. I think that's to go 3 down and to come back after the first hole from the weather delay on Sunday, bogey that first hole, come back. That shot on 14 he hit. It was either 14 or 15. Was one of the most spectacular iron shots I think I've ever seen in my life. With that beautiful draw, ball just stopped, lands about 2 feet for a tap-in birdie to get within 1. Rory bogeyed the hole earlier. Kudos to JJ Spawn, but that rule that he did on Sunday or Saturday, I forget, where he landed the ball in the rough. And kudos to JJ Spawn for knowing the rules. Okay, I'm not going to fault him for using the rules to his advantage, but that's a big yikes out of me, where he dropped it and he was about 6 feet in the rough, right? And so he drops 1 club length. He couldn't get it out of the rough, but he found another sprinkler head that he dropped it on purpose, and then got another free drop from there, and was then able to drop it in the middle of the fairway.
Some hopscotch stuff over there.
Yeah. The thing is, again, kudos to him for knowing the rules. It's the rule. He should use it. But to me, what it reminds me of is like slopping in the NBA or soccer. Sometimes it's a good move. Sometimes it can help your team. Sometimes it can help yourself. But it sort of makes you look like a bitch, right? It sort of makes you look like a fucking bitch. It's what it looks like. And I'm sure JJ doesn't care. At that point in time, he's trying to win the fucking tournament. He's going to use those rules to his advantage no matter what, and that's fine. But it's also fine for us to be like, you look like a fucking pussy doing that.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it looked like. Okay. Like I said, It could be part of the rules. It could be something that's allowed, something that's legal, just like flopping in basketball and soccer. But it can also make you look like a fucking pussy.
Yes.
And that's what the vibe I got from that one. What do you think about that?
Well, the thing with flopping is repeat offenders. So I think maybe he probably doesn't do that, Kenny. Maybe if he's T44 on a Saturday afternoon,
No one would know.
you
No
wouldn't
one would
know either.
probably.
But at the same time, when you're on camera in contention, it's razor's edge stuff. You know, like he was interviewed about his shot that he hit on 17 over the green today, and he saw it for the first time in the presser, and he could not believe that with that ball flight, he sent it that far. So every little bit of benefit and advantage you need to win tournaments, you got to take it. So if it is a sacrifice there, I get it, but just don't do that all the time. But we also wouldn't know if they do it all the time because we don't have enough coverage of these idiots in the rough. So, it is what it is. But overall, Kenny, it just also goes to show what the weather can do to a golf tournament. We've been having some really, flaccid weather events lately, and it hasn't quite given us the carnage we've been looking for. First 2 days, easy peasy around TPC. Next 2, lots of fun.
Yeah, I think the leading score after Friday was 12 under, and that's what won on Sunday. The thing about it is the course. I love the course. I love TPC Sawgrass. But the people that call it gimmicky, they're not 100% wrong. Okay, because the thing about Sawgrass is like, okay, Bati on 17 on Sunday hits a shot, looks perfect, lands about 3 feet below pin high, and then rolls almost off the green, right? I think Bud Cauley hits the same exact shot, literally the same exact shot, 3 feet farther up the hill, and it goes towards the pin and it lands for about an 8-foot birdie. Like missing something by 3 feet, in my opinion, it normally doesn't have that much difference in your shot outcome at most courses, right? And so the thing about TPC Sawgrass is the line between a great shot and a bad shot is so razor thin that like the gap you can miss positioning by 5-6 feet. That's it on the green, and you can go from easy birdie putt to a 3-putt sitting, right? Or rolling the ball off the green into the water. Now I like that. I think it's good. I think it's good to have courses like that because but the volatility that you see in this event, I think, is due to that because you could just miss something by a foot or two and you're fucked compared to somebody else who is 1 foot, 2 foot to the right, and again, don't get me wrong. I love the course. I love the way they set it up, but I can understand the people that call it gimmicky, because you're not relying on like you can hit a great shot and still get fucked. At TPC Sawgrass. It was what we saw.
You could hit a good shot and get fucked because you put too much spin on it. A great shot has the right amount of spin. But Carly versus Akshay Between, I'm pretty certain I know who has more spin on their golf ball between the two.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. But I mean, there's instances there where the Willie Z, when he had that quad, like no one could see how. I mean, if he hit that ball 1 foot to the right, 6 inches to the right, that's not going in the bunker. That's going to be fine. He's going to have a birdie putt or a par, whatever he was back then, par bogey putt instead of trying to hit out of the sand. That was like 6 inches.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That was like 6 inches, like a foot.
But again, it was
don't get me wrong. I like watching it. I like watching it. But the people who call it gimmicky, I can see it. Now you look at the 6th hole with the tree that came over, right? Nothing changed on that hole. Absolutely nothing changed on that hole. And it played almost a stroke worse than last year. Almost a stroke worse from a tree that's hanging over. It's sort of gimmicky, but that's okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Okay. But I think the volatility that you see at this event is It's partly due to the fact that if you miss by a couple of feet, which in the grand scheme of golf is not a big miss, right? It's not a big miss. You could go from, really fucked to really good. And that doesn't happen on, I don't think, any other course on tour.
Sure. There's a couple things though, Kenny, with all these wedges, like how do you defend yourself from technology with a little bit of gimmicks? Like you're going to be having all these wedges going into these greens with how these golfers have improved with distance and technology. A few feet with the wedge is a bigger percent than a long iron, like 200 plus. So that's one thing. And then another thing with the gimmicks is it instantly becomes a mental battle. Scotty Scheffler finished T20. He looked completely out of it. This course kicked his ass, and we could see it did. Like, he was bitching and moaning nonstop like a little brat, and his results showed. I mean, this is one of his worst performances in a long time. So you got to keep your shit together.
So are you worried at all about Scott? Longest stretch without a win since 2023. Now, what we saw from him last year was when he didn't win, he was still 5th, 7th, 8th. Now, when he's not winning, he's 12th, 18th, 23rd, stuff like that. Are you worried about Scotty at all? Is the pressure too much? Because of him now, officially, everyone knows that he's the best in the world. Everyone expects him to contend and win every week. Is that what's getting into Scotty's head?
I think it's the ramp-up period, Kenny. The short game's gone, 45th and 46th in the guys that made the cut at TPC Sawgrass putting and chipping. So that's not ideal. But the ball striking's still there with Scotty Scheffler. I think he missed his ramp-up period. He probably starts golfing pretty hard again early December, gets his shit together, out to the Tournament of Champions, off we go. He missed all of that. And with his hand, like he had surgery on his hand. It's a big deal. His grip, you always see him gripping it before. He looks like an amateur walking up to the ball.
He's played like sure he's 5 times now, right? I mean, he's played 4 or 5 times.
Yes. I just think he's missing that, like, what's made Scotty. And there's a bit of frustration in his game. So the mental side's lapsing. In his presser, he mentioned he wasn't proud of like the 12 holes that he had on the backside of API a week ago. And I'm pretty sure he'd say the same thing again about that windy round in round 3, where he was just bitching and moaning the whole time. So shot +1 on Sunday. Not the greatest, but he's there. He's close. The short game can switch in an instant. It's pretty much the putter that's been letting him down since he figured it out, like last time this year. So
I've been noticing, so we talked about last week that missing a left at the Players is going to be a better thing. And that's why Scotty's been successful there. I didn't mean for him to miss every shot to the left. It did not seem like he was hitting many fairways. And his misses there were a lot more misses for him last week. A couple of other topics before we move on. First one, let's talk about Morikawa. First off, let's talk about what he said in his press conference about when he was at Bay Hill on Sunday and he did not go to the media. He came back, sort of doubled down on Wednesday and said that he doesn't owe the media or the fans anything. Which, technically, I guess is true. And I understand that where he's coming from as a player. He's doing this for himself. He doesn't owe the fans anything. He doesn't owe, the media anything. He needs to go out and do what's best for himself. Now, the issue is golf is, there's sponsorships. The fans are a part of the whole ecosystem of golf, and that spreads to sponsorships, and that spreads to endorsements, and stuff like that. And if you're telling people that you don't give a fuck about them, how does that play when it comes to his money? When it comes to endorsements? I don't want a golfer out there who says something like that to represent me, even though that could be something where he's 100% right. He doesn't owe nobody jack shit. But in this day and age, stuff like that, that soundbite can last a long time. People have already talked about it this week for JJ Spawn going out, basically fucking the whole playoff up this morning, but still coming out and talking about what happened, and stuff like that. It made him look really good, and it made Morikawa look really bad. You know, and I can understand it for like Rory missing. I can give Rory a pass at the U.S. Open. That was just
he's earned it.
I can give
At that point in his career, he earned it.
Yeah, Rory seems like he's earned it. Okay, and for the most part, he does go out and he does talk. Okay, it was just that moment right there. Cameron hasn't earned it yet. I don't think. He's not. He's one of the best players in the world. Don't get me wrong. But he hasn't earned that level of respect yet in my book. And what in my opinion, he should just drop them and just been like, I didn't feel like talking. It was a bad round. Didn't feel like talking. You say
messed
that,
up.
okay.
Own it, move on. Boom.
You don't even have to say you messed up.
Yeah.
You could say, well, you know what? I couldn't talk. I was so angry. It just wouldn't have been good. I didn't want to talk to anyone. But instead, he's like, I don't owe you shit.
Yeah. Kenny, and you know when you come out and you, to the Brandel Chambleys of the world, to the Paul McGinleys, blah, 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 he said it the entire time, like holding his face, like a crutch. Like, if you're going to come out and call people out, look them in the goddamn camera, call those motherfuckers out. Don't stand there to the Brandel Chambleys of the world, you know, like constantly like scratching his face and like holding his hands on his face. Like,
it had to have been an
so
awkward
timid.
thing for him, though,
dude,
right?
like,
Because
come out there and
not,
establish yourself.
it doesn't seem like that's what the type of person he is, right?
Well,
so I don't understand where I don't understand where
like,
he's coming from. And the thing is, he should have won because his iron game was the best out there. He had 15 birdie putts on Sunday. 15 birdie putts on Sunday. I think he's made 3. The guy, and I think he's going to win soon. I'm going to bet him almost every time I see him from now on because I think he's going to win. The biggest problem I saw was he was pushing his putts. Like, it wasn't a two-way miss on his putter. It was always a push, right? And when you see it, when you see it over and over repeated, that's the mistake. That's something you could fix, right? That's something you go to you could fix pushing every putt, right? If it was a two-way miss, he was missing left, he was pulling and pushing, then you're like, okay, maybe it's a lot more mental. To me, it seems more of a technical thing for him. Like, I think when it comes to that punting, he's pushing everything. And I think that's something he can fix. And his iron game looked so good all week. Good. I think a win is coming. I'm going to keep on betting him. One last topic, the day withdrawal. Okay, I know people were pissed off, right, when it comes to DFS. Here's the one thing I'll say about this, and everyone wants like a late swap or something like that when it comes to DraftKings. Guys, it's never going to happen. Ever. Like, I've been playing DFS since 2015 when golf started, right? On DraftKings. We have been complaining about this since 2015. They haven't done anything about this, anything at all. That means they're not going to. So there's no point in bitching and complaining about DraftKings because we know where they stand, right? Like, what you have to do is you have to get up. You have to get up in time. You're putting hard-earned money onto this gambling. You're not going to get any help from anybody else. All right. The people who bitch and complain over and over again. The only person you can blame at this moment in time is yourself, because there has been nothing shown throughout all of DraftKings history that they will help you in this situation. So what makes you think they're going to change their minds, right? What makes you think they're going to change their minds about this? They're not. It's never, ever, ever, ever going to happen. So the only way you can stop this from happening from a pre-lock withdrawal is to just get up. That's it. I'm sorry. It sucks. If you live on the West Coast, it sucks bad, right?
Yeah,
it sucks. It sucks. But there's no other fucking options for you. Yeah. None. Or don't play. If it makes you that angry enough where you think it's that unfair, don't play. Because there's no other solution for you here. None.
Unless you just blacklist specific guys like Jason.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't. It could be random, right? I mean,
it is random.
Victor Perez,
yes,
right? I mean, he WD'd post lock. Now the post lock withdrawals really suck, and I wish there was something you could do, but you can't. Yeah. Right? If there's a pre-lock withdrawal, that shit's on you. Yeah, that shit's on you. Amen. Because no one's ever going to help you. We've tried for a decade.
Street rules now,
to get DraftKings to do something about it. They never fucking will. So if you don't want it to happen, get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's the solution to the problem. Get the fuck up on time. You're putting money into this shit. You're gambling money into this shit. If you rely on others to help you, that's dumb. At least coming from, from the actual betting standpoint, making the bets, placing the actual bet, and then making sure that the guy is going to play. That's on you. Nobody else. I've gotten burned from it dozens of times. Right? Yes. Especially post-lock withdrawals. Pre-lock withdrawals, I get up. I get the fuck up. That's it. There's nothing else you can do.
Get up, baby. Ooh, truth bomb from Kenny there. Hopefully your feelings weren't hurt that badly, but that's okay. We don't really care about your feelings on this podcast anyway. So, Kenny.
One more thing. Last thing. What about the wave advantage? What do you think calls a 2.5 stroke wave advantage on the first and second round?
It wasn't on the second round. It was obviously the heavy lifting happening in round one.
First round, yeah.
I think the second round was pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah.
I don't know. Apparently there was like insane amount of moisture on the grass or something.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Kim said that he thinks it's because of the greens were so soft that morning that people couldn't judge their distances. And then as the day went on, it firmed up a bit and made it easier for golfers to judge their distance. I have no clue how that happened. Now, when it comes to DFS purposes, I know Tambo would do this even on weeks where he didn't think there was a wave advantage. He would just make, if you're mass multi-entering, 150 lineups, whatever, go out there and make 10 lineups all AM, PM. Go out there and make 10 lineups all PM, AM when there's no wave advantage seen, because we didn't see this happening, right? It's not like this week where it's early, but we could see a possible wave advantage for the Valspar on Monday, right? Now, it's wild. So I think that's what Tambo used to do when he mass multi-entered, and I think it's a pretty good idea. Just
especially
to go back
the players, when the daylight's limited, they were barely finishing with just good, easy conditions in round one. Things can change quickly. Tee times can get pushed to the next day, blah, blah, blah. So very important there. And Kenny, just randomly recapping, I had my single entry cashed with 4 guys. I had Rory, Tom Hoagie, Connors, and Joel. Mm-hmm. So, I was thinking about this, and I know this is a DFS strategy early, but when it comes to like volatile events, is it not just better to sometimes also just build these ultra aggressive top heavy lineups where if your guy that you put in for $5,100 misses the cut, everyone's 6 for 6s are going to be crap anyway. So you might as well, the guys that do make it somehow are the best that you have in your lineup. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Just random thought.
I understand. It was a good DFS week for me. Cash Ape Cornerstones, all 4 made the cut. 3 finished inside the top 15. So pretty solid. Dahmen went 6 under on Friday to make the cut for the final cash game Cornerstone. So that was nice. Cash hit again, but it got lucky. I was not looking good going into the last couple of holes. And then Siwoo made that miracle eagle on his final hole on 9. Final hole of the day. I had Siwoo in cash. Like I said, Siwoo's become a cash guy.
Yeah.
Sungjae's become the GPP player. Siwoo's become the cash guy. And Siwoo's in my cash lineup, and I was outside looking in on the cash line, and he made that for, he got the 8 points for the eagle, and then he got 2 points for jumping inside the top 40. So he got 10 points, and I won all my cash lineups by between 4 and 8 points. So if I did not get that, I would not have won. So really, really shout out Siwoo. That helped me out. It made me go break even in DFS, and DFS has been sort of strong here recently for me. If I haven't won in cash, I'm winning in GPPs. If I'm not winning in GPPs, I'm winning in cash. It's been a nice little run here. I think 4 or 5 weeks. The cash line has been a winner. It's been a nice little comeback. The GPPs have been solid. The hustler play of the week, once again, top 15. Not horrible, not the best, not as good as Straka last week, but Denny McCarthy, he did finish 14th as my hustler play of the week, 8% owned. And Straka was 5th the last week, and he was, I think, 9 to 10% owned. So it's working pretty well. This week, I have a hustler play of the week, but I'm beginning to think he's more popular than I expected. So I have a plan B as well. So I have a plan B. We have the regular hustler play, and then we got the plan B hustler play, where if you're not in her, you just go to the store, get the plan B, and you're good to fucking go.
Well, I'm pretty sure you just keep a plan B holstered on you at all times, Kenny. I feel like that's
No,
just how you roll.
I bang strippers, so I'm using a condom, brother. Using a condom. All right.
Okay.
All right? I ain't that crazy. All right. I ain't that crazy. All right.
All right.
Except once. Except once. Except once. Except once.
Hey, you gotta test the landscape every now and then.
It was actually in Tampa. It was actually in Tampa. For all you guys going to the Valspar, if you're looking for a higher class strip club, go to Oz. Go to Oz. All you gotta do is there's gonna be a bouncer there, 6'6", bald head, 330 pounds. At every strip club. Give them a bunch of money. They'll give you a nice table. But I will warn you, stay away from the Russians. There's some Russian strippers there. We had a great time, but I spent a lot of money. Stay away from the Russians there. All right, stay away from the Russians. Or if you're looking for a cheaper place, go to Bear Assets, right by the airport, right down the highway. This is like literally hole in the wall. They have a full-time drug dealer in the bathroom. Like he has his office in the bathroom. It's wild. It's a wild place. Cheap. Anything you want. Cheap. So those are a couple places. Also, when I went to Tampa last time, they have the 2001 A Space Odyssey. That's another strip club. The strip club has a spaceship on top of their building, and that's where the champagne room is. And that's the one I almost got kicked out for watching women's golf. I know I've told that story. I know I've told that story where I was like sitting on the stage and I was watching the Solheim Cup. Right. And I was watching the Solheim Cup, and this big old bouncer comes up to me. He's like, "What are you doing?" He thought I was filming the girls. But I was actually watching women's golf. And he said, that has never happened before in the history of our strip club. And that strip club is old. It's like 50, 60 years old. Yeah. So
back when aliens were a thing.
Tampa, one of the best strip club cities in the United States. It's a good one. It's a good one.
I freaking love it, Kenny. By the way, speaking about ladies golf, you and Charlie Hall both trying to stop quitting. Quit
yes. Yeah.
cigarettes.
So Charlie decided today to quit, and then if she picks up a cigarette, she's got to give, I don't know, her boyfriend or whoever that dude was in the video $10,000. I'm not giving anyone $10,000, but
I thought the bet was between the two of you.
I went to the doctor. Okay, I went to the doctor on Thursday. I got my labs back. All of my numbers are normal, like for the first time ever in my life. Like
dude.
Triglycerides, cholesterol, blood pressure, everything's in the normal range except my white blood cells, my white blood cell count. I'm not sick. I'm not, have no fever. Hopefully it's not like, I was, wet MDing it. So I'm hoping it's not cancer. But I have to go back for another lab this week, but the main culprit of high white blood cell count is smoking. Right. And so, I want to go back to the doctor for the first time in my life and have everything be normal. Right. That it's never, I have never not been the healthiest guy throughout my life. Okay. I have not been, you guys know, I have not been the healthiest guy throughout my life. I'm no more pre-diabetic. My sugar levels are good. Everything's good except the white blood cell count, which is too high. So that's another reason why I want to quit. Because the big worry about quitting cigarettes is gaining the weight that I lost back. I mean, I lost 60 pounds right now, like under 225 for the first time since, I don't know, 2021, something like that, 2020. And so, I want to keep the weight off. But, the last time I got up to almost 290 was when I quit. When I almost quit. I was down to like one cigarette a day. And I was also up to 288 pounds. And those sort of coincided with each other. And so at this point, I've lost the weight. I think I have enough willpower where I can handle it now. So I'm going to try to, quit smoking as I talk about it, and I like the cigarette.
And you're going
But the
into
thing is-
summer, like it's a busy time of the year, nice weather.
Well, here's the thing. I have 6 packs of cigarettes left in my carton, plus this pack, which is about half full. So I got about 130 cigarettes left in my house. I'm going to try and make those the last cigarettes I ever pop. So I'm going to try and space everything out, wean myself off, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to guarantee it because it's fucking hard. But it's something that I want to do. I saw Charlie Hill do it online. So the biggest thing for me when I lost the weight is I held myself accountable by social media, by, that stopping fat hashtag that I did where, I'd tell people what my weight was and how much I was losing. And then, what really helped at that point in time was people giving me encouragement and stuff like that on people I don't even know. Right. I have no idea who you guys are. And you guys gave me the encouragement to lose the weight that I needed to lose. So I'm going to do that again with the cigarettes. I'll probably post how many cigarettes I smoke or something, and we'll see how long these 130 cigarettes last. I'm hoping it could last. Usually 6 packs of cigarettes would last me almost 2 weeks. I'm not the heaviest of smokers, and I smoke like half, and then I'll put it out and I'll smoke the other half. That's why I buy hundreds. So the goal is just to see if I can make this last until I don't need it anymore, and we'll see how it goes.
Let's go, dude. I will join you too, Kenny. I'm wishing you the best with that. I don't smoke, obviously, but I've had a rough betting year, so I'm going to try and lose more pounds than units this year. I'm chasing 48.5 units. I'm 255.5 this morning. So there's some space. I can I can take things that I can control. I'm going to hunt down my units. And, if I keep losing, I'm going to get skinny as fuck. If I start winning again, that benchmark's going to start coming close to me. It's a win-win situation, making a good thing out of a bad situation.
And I like your attitude this week, because the thing is, when you're in a losing streak like that, you could really bring yourself down. And I know you had that little tweet the other day talking about how your wife made you go outside, touch grass, walk the dog. Remember that there's stuff that's more important than what we're doing on this show. And I think it's a really, really good way to think. You got yourself a smart wife there. You did win your first,
My strolling bets, the inaugural knockoff version of walking bets. I had my shirt unbuttoned to the max. Next week, I'm going to do another button. You guys are in for an absolute treat. So Sterling bets, Shane Lowry top 20, backdoor. T20 finished on the money. Tires paid in full. We'll take it, baby. So
hey, that's a step. That's a win. Now you got to find the other slump buster. Normal single people would go, bang an ugly chick or something like that. But since you're married and faithful, ask Mrs. Maniac if you could stick it in the butt. I don't know, something different, right? Just get out of that, or don't even ask. I've done that before myself.
I think that's
right. I've done that before myself. Don't even ask. And if she says something, be like, it was an accident. My bad.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's what they say.
There you go.
So
all right,
you got to.
So I want to hear back
time.
next week after you hit your outright that you stuck it in her butt.
All right.
And if she gets mad, just blame it on Kenny. Yeah, it was Kenny. Yes. Kenny told me to get the fuck up.
You know how many of my friends' wives blame me for everything? like my friends' wives, because I'm the single guy, right? I'm the single guy. I'm not as wild as I used to be. So it's gotten better with the wives, right? I'm not the man I once was. I can't remember the last drink I've had. Shit, when was the last drink? When was the last cocktail I've had? Had to have been a couple of, no, it hasn't been that fucking long. It's been about a couple of weeks since I've had a drink.
Good.
So
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I everyone has their vices, and everyone knows I have issues with vices, and I've come to the realization that the best vice for me is weed.
Yes.
Because I don't feel like shit the next day. I don't act like a fucking. The biggest thing is when I started going out and not drinking as much. In the last year, what I realized is I hate everybody, and everyone annoys the fuck out of me. And then I realized I was probably annoying too. Right? when I had those drinks. So it sort of made me stop doing that. And so I'm sticking with the weed. And, again, it's legal. I don't have to worry about it. I get it delivered to my home. You know what I'm saying? Legally, which is still boggles
Amazing.
my mind.
Yeah.
But that's the way I'm going to go. It's been better for the health. And I'm not smoking it either. So it's not affecting the lungs. Also, it's mostly just edibles. So there we go. But hey, I think we've gone on. The intro was sort of long. Let's talk about our YouTube comment winner. This is actually my boy. Won this, Chris Otten. I went to college with him. Funny story. One time we got a huge fight in my house in college. We had a party, and these frat boys came in. I had left. I always miss the fights. I don't know how it was possible, but I always missed the fights. I had left, but he got his head thrown through the drywall at our apartment. Almost killed him because it almost hit him hit a stud. He probably would have died if he hit the stud, but the stud clipped his ear and ripped his ear a little bit. But it was funny because every time we go home, that hole was in the wall for the rest of the time we lived at that place. Like, oh, that's where Otten's head went through when the frat boys threw it.
Yeah.
Threw him. And more likely knowing my boy, I love him to death. One of my best friends for life. But it was probably his fault. He's just one of those guys. Everyone has those friends, right? Has those friends where you go out, and this was him back then. It's not so much nowadays, but back then, you go out, you go out with this friend, there's going to be some issues. And that was my boy. I still love him. Congrats on winning the YouTube comment. I think Byron's already sent you the Patreon link. So remember, go to our YouTube channel. When you go to our comments page, reply with who you think is going to win every event each week. And the first person to correctly pick the winner gets a free week of Byron's Patreon with all his projections. Free month, all right. Free month with all his, projections, his models, his round 2 showdown, 3, 4 showdown, all of that great stuff. So make sure you go to that place anyways and sign up. All right.
If you use code FGD50, get yourself 50% off the very first month at my Patreon, the Model Make Patreon.
All right. So let's get to this week. Let's talk a little bit about, I forgot the name of it, Valspar. First off, Valspar is a paint. I work in construction. I've never seen Valspar paint in my life. Like I've been in construction for 7 years, 7 years off and on now. And I've never even I've never seen Valspar paint in my life. So I don't know how maybe is it like a money laundering? Is it run by the mob? I don't know. But it's the Valspar. The PGA Tour moves to Tampa Bay this week for the Valspar Championship, which will be played on the Copperhead Course at Innisbrook Resort. It's a great course that brings every type of golfer into play, but usually presented with a less than stellar field due to its placement and schedule. Pretty good field this week. We got like 24 of the top 50 in the world, something like that. Maybe 20 now with a couple of withdrawals.
Yeah, a couple
out there. But pretty solid course. Field this week. There's plenty of course history here. As tournament's been played here since 2000. I think it's the 23rd out of 44th stickiest when it comes to course history. So, not really that sticky. It's routinely ranked, in the top 10 most difficult courses year in and year out. It's been anywhere from 3rd to the 22nd most difficult course on tour in the last 6 years. So, of course, what brings that into effect is the weather. And what we're seeing this week is some weather. First off, it rained on Sunday there, but they haven't really seen that much rain in the area, a lot less than usual. Also, there's not any rain during the week. So, with the winds in the forecast on Thursday and Friday, 30 plus mile per hour gusts. As of right now, it looks like it's calm Thursday morning and picks up Friday afternoon, and then stays strong Friday morning and comes back down Thursday again. It looks like there could be a weather wave, but we won't know for sure actually, we won't know for sure until it happens because it's
until
goddamn weather.
afterwards.
Yeah, until it's goddamn weather. But we could take our best educated guess Wednesday night. So I'd probably wait until then to really finish your lineups. I would wait until then to bet, but we have our cards because this is the show. We have to have our cards out. All right. And so I think this course is going to be playing in the 10 to 12 winning score range, what we saw at the Players this past week. 15 of the last 16 winners here had a top 10 during the season leading up to their victory at Copperhead. Just a couple of tidbits from you right there. The Copperhead course is a 7,300 plus yard par 71. It has 5 par 3s and 4 par 5s. Of course, one of the most difficult par 71 tracks on tour. It's known for the Snake Pit, 16, 17, 18. Very tough 3-hole stretch. That's going to, come down to the leader who's going to win. Basically what we saw in the playoff this morning, right? Same thing as Sawgrass. Hole 16 is always fun because it's a dog leg right off the tee with water lining the whole entire right side of the fairway, making accuracy off the tee a must. Now, if you overcompensate and hit it left, trees come into play. If you overfade it or overdraw it for lefties, water, of course, is looming. It's a great hole where you're going to see like a myriad of clubs being used off the tee. I know like 10 years ago when Charles Schwartzel won, he had iron off the tee, leaving like 210. Bill Haas won like 8 years ago. On his way to Schwartzel made par on that. Bill Haas, who was in the lead at the time, hit a perfect 3-wood off the tee, but short-sided his approach, leading to bogey and an eventual playoff loss. 16 routinely one of the hardest holes on the course and one of the most difficult holes on tour. Copperhead deceptively long. 4 of the par 3s are over 200 yards. All the par 5s are over 550 yards, and only 1 par 4 is under 420 yards. Add the fact that driver off the tee is not a good play on most of the holes, and the course becomes a daunting task with positioning and long iron play being the keys to success. Now, off the tee golfers are going to be challenged with tight tree line fairways, massive dog legs, thickish rough, elevation changes. The rough's supposed to be about 4 inches. The dog legs, a lot of them go left to right. So, guys who faded off the tee, a little bit of an advantage here. The fairways are average in size, but tend to get narrow the farther you get from the tee box. Most fairways on the course get extremely narrow at about the 300-yard mark off the tee. Now, because of this, the average driving distance of Copperhead is one of the shortest on tour, routinely ranking in the bottom 10 in average driving distance. Precision and placement are going to be more important than length, and driver is left in the bag for most golfers on a majority of holes. The greens are usually firm and are average in speed around 11 to 12 on the snip. I'm sure you'll see a little bit lower on Thursday and Friday with the wind. Now, since most of the greens are sloped from back to front, the greens are average in size when you take into account only square footage, but will look much smaller to tour players because they will be hitting mid to long irons on their approach shots for the majority of the holes. There are also some very long, skinny putting surfaces, which skews the average size of the greens. The par 3, 4th, and 14th come to mind as greens that are very long, but the landing area by the pin is usually very tight in width. That's what she said. As with most courses in Florida, the grass on the greens are going to be Bermuda grass. It's overseeded with Poetry Trivial. Same shit we saw at the Players last week. And also same stuff we saw at Waste Management. What are you looking for in golfers this week?
Couldn't agree more with what you were saying there, Kenny. Spot on with the iron proximities, how hard it is to hit these greens because of how hard it is to hit these fairways. So looking for better putters this week, those 5 to 15 footers, going to be important this week to save all of those pars. And then par 5 scoring. 3 of the 4 par 5s are easily like minus 0.2 under par or better or easier. The other one is a little closer to even par. And then the rest of the holes are like above par. So in order to get to that minus 10, minus 12, like we want to see here, you've got to dismantle those par 5. So I've ramped par 5 scoring all the way up. Again, what you need on par 5 scoring, around the green play, good long iron play, all the stuff the other holes on this course demand too. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that department. Not too worried about the course history. Always nice to have someone that's played well here, like Sam Burns, but, not very predictive, so to speak, because of the volatility of the holes, So simple situation here. I agree with you with most of that stuff, and just let's see what we can get up to.
Yeah, I mean, like 175 to 200, 200 plus, par 3 scoring, par 5 scoring, bogey avoidance. It's a second strot course. Definitely keying in on the approaches and proximities for this week.
Awesome, sawsome. So let's dive into some kickback golf bets, baby. Use code FGD15 to save yourself up to 15% on your purchase from Kickback Golf. We've got awesome clothing. We got the Augusta jersey that I'm rocking and rolling for Scotty Scheffler's 2024 win or his 2022 win, whichever one you want. You can grab that out there. Awesome.
Let's skip the 22. Let's skip the 2022 win because that's when I had my stroke.
Let's just go to 2024.
There you go.
No strokes. Kenny's not giving any strokes to anybody, including Scotty Scheffler. We're taking him head on. So use code FGD15 over there for baseball jerseys, for these basketball jerseys with all the alma maters of these golfers with relevant numbers to the years they won, not 2022, and potentially some of their lowest scores that they've shot on tour. So please use that to support us. We need some more source money for Kenny to bring us some Scotty Scheffler stories, which I believe are simmering on the back burner over there. Maybe next week we'll see what happens. Kenny, I've got a couple outrights for you. You ready for these things? Got 10.
I'm ready.
Michael Kim, 40-1. Just playing so goddamn good right now. Long irons, ball striking. His game is so whole. You know, there's no error. He's just been gaining across the board for the last 5 weeks. Obviously missed the cut last week. Not too concerned about that. Gave him some well-needed weekend relaxation. Then I'm going to go with Luke.
He missed the cut by missing a 3-footer on 17. Right? He makes that. He makes the cut.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, but would you rather have had him potentially just rest up a little bit? There's a couple guys in the field. Ben Griffin, one of my outrights, 66-1 at Bed Rivers. He's playing in his 11th straight tournament. He missed the cut, I believe, at the Players. So thank God, finally got 2 days off there. But these guys are just trying to get into the Masters. They are just playing lots of golf. So beware. The way the PGA Tour is structured now might have guys playing way more golf in succession than they really want to. So Ben Griffin, 66-1. Next up after Michael Kim, Lucas Glover at 50-1. 45's out there now. You want Lucas Glover, who's just a stereotypical player for this field. I think you mentioned, Kenny, he's around the green game at this golf course insane. So you'll probably get to that at some point. But Glover's playing great golf right now. He's the perfect accuracy mid-iron guy that you can look for. Let's see what the glove can get up to. Jake Knapp. He's not the bomber that people think. He's a dude that can absolutely send it if he needs to, but he's also very good at hitting that mini driver into the fairway. So like him at the Cognizant, played nicely there. These kind of venues, I think, set up quite nicely for him, particularly with all the long irons that we have to deal with. And then we're into the 100 digits here. Andrew Novak, 100-1. He's like an auto play at 100-1. Each ways, all of these have each ways, by the way. He's just so spontaneous. He just plays well whenever he plays well. At 100-1, he's got insane upside. So give me Andrew Novak at that price tag. Max McGreevy, 110-1, 100-1 out there. Playing solid golf right now. Ball striking the bejesus out of it. Just needs a bit of putt luck to kind of get himself over the hump. Joel Damon, same situation. 150-1, 125-1. This dude can get it done when it comes to hitting fairways. He's ultra accurate. So at a golf course like this, he could absolutely hit a lot more fairways, which just makes those second shots even easier. Great iron player. Put a little less emphasis on his short game. That's his biggest weakness. Davis Riley is 250-1 if you don't want the each ways. He's 150 or 200-1 if you want the each ways. He showed us like 2 or 3 tournaments of form before he won the Charles Schwab Challenge, where he's played well before. He's played well, yeah. He lost to Sam Burns, I believe, in a playoff or in regulation, whichever one he finished second. I love the places that Davis Riley plays good golf at. He's one of those guys that seems to find his groove, and he's made a couple cuts in a row, including the Players last week. So he's starting to find his groove. Crazy number there. Matt McCarty, 250-1. Ball striking the crap out of it. PGA Tour winner. 3-time Korn Ferry Tour winner. Starting to find his groove again as well at a crazy big number as at the bottom there, 250-1. So I had Akshay, Kenny. I'm thinking about maybe going Tom Kim with him instead since the Akshay WD. Haven't quite figured that out yet. I'm going to hold off that rest of my bankroll for once we get tee times. I'll be dropping that probably on my show tomorrow, 7 Eastern. So take a peek over there. Who have you got this week? Endo VT.
All right. So the first outright for me is going to be Will Zalatoris, 22-1. He plays tough courses well, right? And if you look at what he did at the Players, if you take away those 5 holes, those last 5 holes on Saturday, where he went 9 over par. I mean, he wins the event, right? He wins the event, right? He was in the lead Saturday on the back 9 of this event, of the Players. And so, of course, he had that quad and then a couple of doubles and another bogey coming in and sort of, it fucked with his head. That one shot that we were talking about that went into the bunker, it seemed it really derailed everything that he was doing. Now, you don't see things like that at the Valspar. The line is not that thin between good shot and bad shot. I don't think he should get as frustrated at this place. Now, the thing is, he's never played this, but he's gained almost 10 strokes with his irons in his last 2 events. We know him as a tough course specialist. Really like the bounce back he had on Sunday, shooting 71 after what happened on those final 5 holes on Saturday. It looks like he's finally coming back to where he was. His big weakness, of course, is his driver. And that's now, ever since the back surgery. And it seems, that's going to be muted because he just don't hit many drivers at this course. So that's definitely going to be one. Let me fix the camera there. That's all with 8 places. Next, it's going to be Jake Knapp. 50-1 with 8 places, gained with his irons in 7 straight events. Longest stretch of his career. Yes, last week was a lot of putter, but he's been putting the ball well all year. It's not like it was just random out of the blue. I gained 9 strokes putting this week and I've sucked the entire year before that. He's been a good putter this entire season. So it's not like it was like that shocking. Maybe the amount that he gained was shocking, but his iron game has been strong. 4 straight top 25s. So we'll go ahead with him 50-1 with 8 places. I like Nikolai Højgaard. I like him better than his brother Rasmus. He comes in number 2 in my model. In his last 24 rounds, he's second in proximity from 175 to 200 and 13th from 200 plus in this field. It's not all scrubs here, right? It's not all scrubs. He's second from 175 to 200, 13th from 200 plus. Irons have been excellent all season. Couple of top 20s prior to the Players. And again, I don't pay too much attention to bad outings at the Players because of the volatility, because of that thin margin between good and bad. So I'm not really too worried. If you played well, then that's something to think about. But if you didn't play well, I'm not going to hold it against you like I normally would in other events. Next, it's going to be Max McGreevy, 90-1 with 8 places. And we're going to go ahead and skip talking about him because, of course, he's going to come up later on in one of my in my Hustler Play of the Week. He is my Hustler Play of the Week. I'm a little bit worried about his ownership, but we'll talk that through when we get there. Next, it's going to be Rico Hui, 110-1 with 8 places. The Filipino machine right here, first in the field in tee to green, last 24 rounds in this field. And this field, like I said, ain't weak. Long iron prowess and good drive percentage, solid. Gained over 11 strokes with his irons in his last 2 shot link events. One of the best iron players last week. So give me a little Hui at 110-1, 8 places. I like EVR. I like your. Is he South African or is he New Zealand? He's South African.
Kenny, my brother.
He's
straight up Safa. Yeah.
He's your brethren. He's your brethren. 160-1 with 8 places. 9th in proximity from 175 to 202nd in proximity from 200 plus in this field in the last 24 rounds. 10th. His last time here, 9th at the Cognizant a couple weeks ago. Decent in windy, tough conditions. 160-1, 8 places. I like your Riley play. 170-1, 8 places. I'm going to go ahead with him. And then I like David Hit the Skins. This is a Jim C tail. Just tailing Jim.
Jim Cunningham.
If you don't follow Jim C on X, you're missing out. The guy's a first-round leader master. He hits a lot of big numbers. People always bitch about him having fake numbers, but they're not fake. I see the same numbers that Jim sees. And I'm going 400-1. David Hit the Skins with 12 places. 12 places. He's missed like 17 cuts in a row. I don't know what Jim sees in him, but it's Jim. I'm going to follow Jim. I see that. I don't have to risk too much, and it's a pretty big reward for it. So the card is pretty heavy this week. I still have about 20% of my bankroll left. So it's going to be Willie Z, 22 to 1, 8 places. Knapp, 50 to 1. All of these with 8 places. Nikolai Højgaard, 75 to 1. McGreevy, 90 to 1. Rico Hui, 110 to 1. EVR, 160 to 1. Riley, 170 to 1. David hit the skins, 400 to 1. That's for 12 places. I'll probably add a couple of live bets. What other bets you got this week?
All righty. So we're going to share some screenage over here and take a look at the bets, the sweat bets for this week's Valspar Championship. I've got them sorted by the top 5 in odds. We can figure out how we want to go. The reason we're doing these, and I'm going to speak you through how I would bet each of the top 5 guys on the odds board, so that if you're just looking to be a complete degenerate, this is Degen Nation Station. So we are looking to kind of give ourselves a sweat over the weekend. This is what you're going to be looking for when you're doing that. So Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Thomas, Xander, Sepp, and Shane Lowry are the top 5 guys we're going to be chatting about. Let's start off with Justin Thomas, who's plus 280 for a top 5, but plus 150 for a top 10, minus 130 for a top 20, which is the interesting part here between the top 10 and the top 20. If you take a look at their odds, there's quite a big difference there between minus 130 for top 20 and plus 150 for a top 10. But if we scoot over to Justin Thomas's finishing rates, he's 43% of the time he finishes top 20, 41% of the time he's top 10. So when he's top 20ing, he's almost simultaneously top 10ing, if that's making any sense to you guys out there. So you want to be looking for that value, grabbing the top 10, leave the top 20s alone. When he pops, he pops. You're going to have to only lay less than a unit to win your unit back versus 1.3 units to win your unit in the top 20 market. He's finishing inside those markets at the same rate. So that's a nice way to go about that. Tommy Fleetwood, I'm going to be betting him minus 140. Grabbed him at minus 115 earlier today. Dropped that in the Discord. As I mentioned, the Patreon account for the Model Maniac, you're going to have closing line value for days. Are the winning bets going to come? Yes, they are. They're on the freaking way. So Tommy Fleetwood.
Stick it in the butt. Stick it in the butt.
We are going Browntown, baby. It's going to be a fun time. Don't know where that's coming from. Moving along to Tommy Fleetwood or Driftwood, whichever one you're speaking about here. Minus 140 for a top 20. He pops inside the top 20 at a 63% clip. A minus 140 means a 58% implied probability. So there's a nice solid edge over there. I'm a big fan of Tommy Fleetwood in that market. The top 10s and top 5s, he doesn't quite meet the shorter odds that he's got. Xander Schauffele, I'm just going to go up front here and say bet him top 5. I don't trust him at all this week. So place the least amount of money you can to win your 1 unit back at plus 375 for a top 5. That's where you want to be going in that department, because laying even money for a top 20 on someone who's this inconsistent right now, probably not what you want to be getting up to. Sepp Straka in the top 20 market. This guy's been popping up inside the top 20 52% of the time over the last 12 months. It's happened a lot more lately. His game is absolutely dialed. Love this golf course fit for him. He's popping inside there 52% of the time. Plus 105 means it happens 49% of the time. So if you're betting these bets over a long period of time, there's an edge there. Bet Sepp Straka plus 105 for a top 20. And then I've laid 2 of my own very much hard-earned units that I had to deposit again this week on Shane freaking Lowry, the winner of the strolling bets last week. 48% implied probability at plus 110 for a top 20. Shane does it basically 2 out of every 3 starts, 64% of the time. So as you see, the top 5 rate, one of the worst amongst the guys at the top here, but he's got one of the best top 20 rates. So finding these soft spots in these golfers' betting profiles is paramount to long-term success. It helps you invest less, make more, be a profitable bettor over that run in time. Love the freaky sweaty bets we're rocking and rolling with this week. Those are the top 5. I'll be breaking down a couple more going forward on my show on 7 Eastern on Mayo Media Network tomorrow night on Tuesdays. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to that. Kenny, some blood, sweat, and DFS tears coming up next. Let's do it. Who are we digging in the 10K and above range this week?
Hey, my first cash game cornerstone is going to be Mr. Consistent. It's going to be Xander Schauffele at 10,500. You're getting a super discount for one of the best golfers in the world. He's played a couple of events. He should be back to normal. The thing is, like, I will take the risk that he's a little bit off, but he still makes cuts. Like he's the leading cut maker on tour. He's made almost 30 in a row or something like that, right?
I think it's in the 50s.
Floor, yeah. So I don't even know. The floor is there, right? You don't really expect him to cut, but if his game is back on, if he's figured out what he needs to do after, he was out for a month and a half, played in 8 rounds, you should think that he's got his wheels under him again. I don't really take upside picks on, but the thing is, like, the safety is there, right? I mean, I expect him to make the cut in this field, and if he plays like he can, and his game is back, he can win this event. And at $10,500, you're never ever going to see that price again unless he really plummets, right? I mean, you're used to getting 11-2, 11-8, Xander Schauffele. Give me the discount for him. Give me the fact that he's played this course very, very well in the past, right? And he's still out there, still grinding, still making cuts. I'm going to take the risk with him this week, and I'm going to go ahead and have Xander as my first cash game cornerstone. I like Tommy. JT's out for me. I haven't seen him do it. It doesn't seem like he could do it for 4 straight rounds. There's too many blowups. I think the course that JT can win, and I think he's going to win soon, aren't courses like this. I think it's going to be a birdie fest. I think you see JT win at a birdie fest. The next birdie fest that he is in, I will probably bet him. But when the course is tough, and there's chances for bogeys and double bogeys and stuff like that, you just see him make too many mistakes on courses like this, which keeps his upside down, in my opinion. Right? So I am not. JT's going to be a fade for me. Fleetwood or Straka? I mean, Fleetwood, I think the guy's playing excellent golf, right? And
I'm surprised he wasn't your cash game guy, Kenny. He's just so much safer than Xander right now.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Xander will be fine. And I'm playing. This is a notoriously tough 6 of 6 event, right? So I want a little bit of upside because last week I didn't really have the upside. I got lucky. I didn't have a single guy in the top 10, and I barely cashed, even though with 5 or 6, and only about 28% of lineups in single entry double ups were 5 of 6 or 6 of 6. So technically I should have cashed easily, right? Based upon those numbers. It took to the last fucking second. It took a Siwoo Miracle Eagle for me to cash because I just didn't have the upside in there. Now, granted, Morikawa should have finished better. Fleetwood should have finished better. And Straka should have finished better than the 11th, 14th, and 14th that they did. But, I like the fact that Xander, I don't think people are going to be on him. I'm going to use him in GPPs. I'm going to use him in cash. And I think that he goes out there and gets back to the Xander that we know. He's had enough warm up. He's had enough time to knock off that rust. He's playing, practicing every day. He's back on his normal rotation. Give me Xander for cash. Give me Xander for GPPs. He's the guy I'm rocking up top.
Yeah, he's interesting, Kenny, because the biggest thing you need around you is a tidy ass short game. Now he's an elite ball striker, and that's still continued to translate quite nicely to his return. But man, the around the green play has been very, very splotchy the last little while.
And you got to think that's one of the last things to come, right?
Yes.
I mean, when you think about golfers in general, ball striking always comes first. When you talk about younger golfers, youth golfers, they always focus first on getting their ball striking right. And then the short game always suffers. It's got to be the same when you're coming back from injury. Got to get that ball striking right. And the thing is, he couldn't practice the short game because a lot of people can practice their short game while they're on injury because it doesn't affect their full motion, right? But he couldn't because it was his hands. Or no, what was his injury?
It was ribs.
It was his ribs.
His recovery was 100% rest. You can't fix that. You just have to rest it up and heal it. So you can't even go. You just said he was just chilling,
sitting on the couch,
relaxing.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm taking the risk. I'm taking the risk on Xander.
I don't mind taking the risk in GPPs. I don't know, how it's going to work out in the cash game streets there. He's probably going to be quite low owned, I would imagine, with most people going to Tommy and Sepp, right? So, hey, if he's still providing you with some safety and those guys miss, then those cash game cashes come in a lot easier. I will be leaning with the sheep on Tommy and Sepp down at the bottom here. I think Tommy is just, oh man, it's great course history, great form, and it's a venue that Tommy Fleetwood plays well at. We don't have to get to minus 15s. We're going to be dealing with double-digit maximum for a winner. I think he thrives in these conditions. He's going to be popular. He's just playing so solid now. The putter should show up at some point, and when it does, hopefully he's in the mix. So I like him a lot, the most of the bunch at the top there. JT, he's just this yo-yo. He just plays well when he's far behind and doesn't play well when it matters, man. So unfortunately,
give me JT at a 20 under course. Give me JT on a 20 under course, and I'll put money on him.
Yeah, I would do it live. Wait for him to get way behind. We saw what he can do. Course record just to make the cut. After one of the worst rounds of his life. So this is exactly. He's talented, but doesn't know how to translate that into competition right now. We'll see. I'm out on Sam Burns in the 9K range here, Kenny. Course history is going to probably drive that ownership up a little bit more than we would expect. Not playing the greatest golf right now is Sam Burns. We've got a miscut at the Players, 48th at the API. Nothing inside the top 20 since the tournament champion. So no upside there for Sam Burns at the moment. I understand this is a golf course he's thrived at in the past. I'll go elsewhere. Love Akshay Bhatia. He's not in the field anymore. What am I talking about? On my screen, we're not talking about him. Shane Lowry, another. Hey, you got to delete so much crap out of your models when these guys WD. It's all good. We're rocking and rolling here. Love Willie Z then, Kenny, in place of Akshay as that cheap hustler down at the bottom here of $9,300 stealing your term here for a golfer. That Willie Z can absolutely bring it in the mix here. Alex Smalley as well is going to be not a first click, but he's a definite second option after you've clicked a bigger name above him to go into your lineups. He's just, don't think he's got it on the Sundays, but he's going to be flirting with the leaderboard again this week. He's so damn good around the greens, which you're going to need this week. Who's in the nines for you, Kenny?
3 guys. Will Z. We already talked about why I love him in the betting segment.
Yeah.
He's my favorite GPP play there. I think he wins the event. I like Shane Lowry. 5 of the last 10 winners have been foreign born. I think they might have even been European. Looking back, I have to double check. But Shane, iron game has been strong. Tee to green, very good. Around the green, solid. All the numbers are there. Even from 175 to 200, really good. Avoids bogey, really solid on par 3s. Shane makes a lot of sense. And then Tom. Tom didn't have the best showing last week, but his iron game was really good. Like one of the top 10 in the field at the Players. With his iron game, I don't know if he's going to be picking up any steam. You think you get him at 10%?
Yeah, we'll see.
Like the ownership this week, is
him.
I'm lost. I'm lost in the ownership this week. I can't. That's why I'm having trouble with my hustler play of the week, who might be like 18% owned now. I have no idea. So yeah, I don't know where the ownership's going, but I like Tom a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned, Kenny. I think it's going to be pretty flat. We've got enough good options in the field this week to kind of disperse ownership across the board. So it's not like it's a star-studded top of the board and then everybody else. So, when you got Michael Kim in the 8s, there's a lot of jiggle room up top there. So I think it's absolutely a possibility that we don't see that much ownership pulled to different places unless, someone gets hyped up pretty quickly. And pay attention to the wave advantages. Those dictate ownership in a big, big way. I got caught with my pants blown off in one of those showdown rounds after the weather showed up on Saturday. So be aware of that. In the 8s, Kenny, Michael Kim leads them off $8,900. How popular is he going to be?
I think people got to be off of him, right? Because he was a chalk, bomb last week who was close to 20% owned and missed the cut. He was an easy fade for me at $5,900 last week. At this price, at a discounted ownership, it's not like he's playing horrible. He had one bad round. I think this is the one where you might want to jump back on him. I sort of like it.
Love him. Lucas Glover as well, someone I'm going to be leaning into in a big way. And then Luke Clanton, going to go from Lucas to Luke. And Clanton is just an absolute baller right now. And he can play on any golf course. His speed off the tee, not going to translate that well here, but we've seen him play nicely at PGA National as well. So, he can RSM as well. The Seaside course out there in the East Coast is a place you can kind of comp to this venue too. Anyone else that you want to be mentioning in the eights, Kenny?
Yeah, I mean, my second cash game cornerstone is going to be Taylor Moore. Pretty good last week. He's made like 7-8 cuts in a row or something like that. He's been solid as a cut maker. It seems safe. Of course, he's won here before. I think he's finished 12th here also. So he has a course history. He has some decent cut making form. I'll go ahead and use him as my second cash game cornerstone. Lucas Glover's in my cash lineup. He's in my cash lineup. I mean, the guy's played well. I think he's missed one cut here in the last 10, 12 years, something like that. And we saw he was in contention last week, going into the final round of the Players. He has that form. So, yeah, I like Lucas. I like JT Poston, Florida course. He sort of plays well at Carolina courses. He sort of likes that vibe. And this reminds a lot of people of Carolina type courses. He was a gut play for me last week. He actually played okay. I think he was top 25, top 30 or something like that. I think he improves on that. Yep. Yeah, I think he improves on that this week, JT Poston, because I've seen his iron play live and up close. He's solid when he wants to be with those irons. So I like him.
I'm a fan of Benny On this week, $8,200 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to be early on him. The form isn't exactly where we want it, but we know what his baseline is. He could easily be one of the best golfers in this field. So getting him at this price at $8,200 on a course that he lays up on a lot, I love that. He's very, very historically very good on these layup venues off the tee. He gains a lot of strokes on these shorter courses. Just hits those stinger 2 irons out there for sure. 8th at the API, 52nd at the Players. So those are 2 made cuts in a row with a good result out at API. Jake Knapp, always going to be in the lineups as well.
Jake Knapp's third cash game cornerstone for me. We talked about him in the betting segment. So he's definitely the third cash game cornerstone for me. I do like Jake Knapp. 7K range. I know your boy Ben Griffin. You're a fan of his this week. There might be a little bit of a correlation between this course and Sanderson Farms. You look at Matt Hughes. He's won, at the Sanderson. Sam Burns has won the Sanderson. Malnati has won the Sanderson Farms, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah. So also, and last year, I think, or a few years ago, Stallings, Kawan, and Ben Griffin, they were all inside the top 10. I think the year Luke List was up there at this event. I think it was at this event. No, that was Sanderson. But they've all played well at both. I know you're a fan of his. Again, you're not worried about the 11 weeks in a row.
Slight concern. If he's low owned, I'm in. If he's coming a bit chalky, it's easier to get off because of that. I do not mind that he missed the cut. That does give you a bit more time to just kind of chill out a bit.
I don't worry about a miscut of the Players. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing because, having to play another 2 days on the back end of like 7 straight cuts made, that's a lot of golf, man. So it's good to just take his foot off the gas there for a second. I'd take that as a mini bye week for him anyway. If you're playing multi-entries, if you're not putting Sahith Theegala in your lineups just a little bit, he's an insane upside option. The reliability is horrible, I think if you follow his tracker on X, it's hilarious. He made a quad and then 5 birdies in the next 6 holes on like 1-9. So he's just that kind of guy. So if you can avoid the big numbers,
give me Sahith on the easy course. I can't deal with him on tough courses anymore.
Got a 7th year in 2022. I don't know. It is what it is. Desi is going to be a nice safe option at $7,600. I think he let us down at the Players last week, but it's okay. He's played nicely top 10 year in 2024 and a couple top 40s entering the week. What about Ryan Gerard?
I'm not a big fan of many guys in this upper 7K range. All of my plays are in the lower 7K range. And first, it's going to be my hustler play of the week. Mike, hit the music. Now, a hustler play of the week is supposed to be somebody who's supposed to be low owned for some reason, right? And the ownership down here, I am not sure, and I'm hearing more steam for McGreevy this week, so maybe he might not be as low owned as I was expecting. I'm hoping he's around that 10% range, but we'll see. That's why I have a plan B option for the hustler play of the week as well. But I like McGreevy. Ems, he missed the cut and he has a 48th in his 2 appearances at Valspar in his career. But he has 3 top 25s in his last 4 play, gained almost 13 strokes with his irons in his last 3 events. Great for 175 plus, solid good drive percentage. Really like Max McGreevy. Of course, I bet him a 90-1 with 8 places. So my cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Xander Schauffele at 10,500. Taylor Moore at 8,600. Jake Knapp at 8,100. And Max McGreevy at 7,200, I think this week, 7,300, 7,200. That leaves like 16K. So plenty of room to do whatever you would like with your other 2 picks. Now, he's also the hustler play of the week. So he's going to be a big part of my card and my DFS this week. Now, if you're looking for a plan B option for the hustler play of the week, because McGreevy, he could get steamed up, and I really don't have a good gauge of the ownership like I did the last couple of weeks of Straka. I knew it was going to be low owned. Last week, I knew Denny was going to be low owned. I thought McGreevy was going to be low owned, but I am not sure now. So if you're looking for a plan B, it's Eric Van Rooyen, EVR at $6,900. That would be hustler play plan B. We talked about him during the betting segment, 9th in proximity from 175 to 200, 2nd in 200 plus in the last 24 rounds, 10th the last time he played here, 9th at the Cognizant a couple of events ago, decent and windy and tough conditions. So that is a hustle play of the week, part B. Other guys I do like in the 7K range, though, I like Nikolai Højgaard a lot. Talked about him during the betting segment. Big fan of him. I also like Kevin Roy. I know at 7,100, really good showing a couple weeks ago in Puerto Rico. Like when it comes to numbers, he's been solid, really good from 200 plus, really good with his par 5 scoring. I like him. Joseph Bramlett seems like a guy who makes every cut here. If you're looking for a course horse that's cheap, that might be someone to look at. I don't know if I'm going to go in that direction, but the guy makes a ton of cuts at this place. Rico Hui, again, $7,000. We already talked about him. Who do you like in this lower 7K?
Before we get there, Kenny, I want to share a tool that I've been working on for you guys over at the Model Mania Patreon, and it's for DFS. So I've got here the Valspar data from 2019 and onwards, and it's got ownership, it's got salary, and it's got the points gained on the field. So if we're just taking a look at ownership historically over here, there's no real 7K option that's ever really been that high owned. Sepp Straka is the first one at $7,900 that came in at 15%. So we got to scoot down again, all the way down to an Aaron Wise in 2020 to get to 12.5% for a 7K option, Kenny. So for Max McGreevy to kind of get way up into the teens, he's going to have to get a lot of steam. But filtering on Max McGreevy's overall situation, the highest he's ever been owned was at the Black Desert Championship, and that was a 9% ownership at $7,500. So similar price tag, a much better field this week. I don't see him really eclipsing much more than 10% this week, Kenny, just based off of the situation that we've seen. So use code FGD50 to get 50% off over there at my Model Maniac Patreon. You can use all these badass tools that we're using to dissect historical ownership, salaries, things like that. Now, in the 7s for me, Ryan Gerard, mentioned him before handing him off to Kenny, absolutely going to be playing with him. He is ultra consistent when it comes to round 1 and round 2 scoring. So that means you're just going to get that made cut. He might not be a terrible option for a round 1 first round leader, depending on tee times. Where else am I looking is Andrew Novak. Mentioned him already, got him in the outright card. High volatility. I'll be playing a couple more lineups this week than just the 3 Kenny will be playing. So that's where I'll be looking for him. And then I'll be looking at Nikolai Højgaard along with you, Kevin Roy as well, and then Sam Ryder. He's had a 19th and a 33rd here, played nicely at the Players again. He seems to fancy these Florida courses in a big way. So he's been moving in the right direction at $7,100 for sure. Love Rico Hoey and Joel Damon as a safe 7K option down there at the bottom of the 7K range. In the sixes, Kendo, Adam Schenk loves this golf course. Where are you going in the sixes?
Yeah, Schenk is there. EVR, we already talked about. Davis Riley, we already talked about. I want to play Eric Cole, but I don't think I will. Again, this is like the type of course that he could play well. I'm having troubles in this 6K range. I haven't found very many golfers. Jackson Suber at 6,500. A young kid, with a lot of skill that might be overlooked with the likes of, Clanton and Thorbjornsen in the field. This is another guy of that ilk who's very, very strong with his long irons. Jackson Suber is a guy that I would look at down here. Who do you love?
I don't mind Chandler Phillips.
Lanto, Griffith. I'll play a little Lanto. Any course where it's a long iron specific, I like Lanto a lot.
Cool. I don't mind that. Chandler Phillips was doing crazy stuff early in the week last week. I'm a big fan of his this week at $6,700. Another two $6,700 options. Brian Campbell. He's very good on these long par threes, surprisingly, and that driving distance that he lacks off the tee this week, super nullified at the golf course like this, along with Matt McCarty. Same situation, not the longest options, killer short game, $6,700, cheap, great course fits. Matteo Manacero, similar situation, not the longest off the tee, very, very good on these positional courses that require scrambling. We could see a couple Euros come through in the bottom of this range over here. Zach Johnson, scrappy as shit. Missed 3 cuts in a row at this golf course, all good. He's been playing some solid golf when he does play. He does have some decent course history. If the weather gets crazy, I like Captain Zach to get it done for us over there. Haven't deep dived too many other people. KHV's got some really good course history if you're looking for a cheap $6,200 option, but that's some gross stuff. Shall we get into
Sammy Valimaki, maybe? You always see him in the first couple of rounds do pretty well. He's had, he's gained more than 3 strokes with his irons in 2 of his last 3. Someone that you could think about playing down there low.
Yeah, nice and cheap. You're going to need 1 or 2 of those guys. Has a winner of the tournament we're playing this week ever been $6,000 min price, Kenny, like Peter Malnati?
Yeah, it was crazy with him being down there.
Just insane. So, as always, Cristobal Del Solar, $6,000, play him in round 1 showdown, and in first round leader markets, he's always very cheap, great value, first round prince for me. One and done's, Kendo. Where are we going for the Slider Cup this week?
I think I'm definitely going to play Willie Z. That's the only thing I know for it. I think he's one guy I am going to play. Did pretty well in the Slider last week with Morikawa Straka. Got me 25 points or 24 points. You want least amount of points in this league. So Morikawa finished 10th. Straka finished 14th. So you get 24 points. And for the players in the majors, it's multiplied by 2 or 4 or something like that. So it was pretty nice getting that. I think I came in, had the second best total of the week. But I'm thinking Willie Z is who I'm going to go with this week. I'm not sure who I'm going to pair him up with on the international end, but we'll see.
Yeah, the international end is going to be very fascinating. We've got lots of options here. Geez, I feel like I won't be using Tommy Fleetwood in any other big event. Is he going to be very popular this week? Probably.
That might be a good move.
I need to get back on the board, yeah. Get some momentum. He's providing you with that safety. Could give you a top 5. Definitely probably going to give you, hopefully a top 20 there if all things considered continue to play out. Yes, my friend. Right. Anything else?
No, that's it for me, brother.
Beautiful. We had some technical difficulties, but we seem to manage to get through the show just fine. We appreciate you guys' patience. As always, hit that like, hit the subscribe here on Mayo Media Network. We're working towards 50K subs on the channel. Pat won't pay us until we get to 50K, so we are being held ransom. Just kidding. Just hit that smash. hit the likes, subscribe.
Should have a new sponsor next week. I just
Yes,
got a
we
text.
will. Yes, baby.
got a text.
So lots of good stuff coming your way on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates show. Use code FGD15 over at Kickback Golf. Use code FGD50 for my Model Maniac Patreon, which you can find on my X account at the Model Maniac as well. Kenny, get us out of here.
You can find me on X at KendoVT. I'll have my full betting card there, complete betting card there, all live bets, any type of underdog or any type of play. Just go to my Twitter at KendoVT. All right, it should be a fun week. I know Byron's going to break out of his slump, but he's going to stick it in the butt. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation.